black communities and all of this stuff that we're dealing with here, all of the experimentation by pharma mafia, right? They've got a side effect. They got a drug for your side effect for the side effect, and another drug for that, right? And these people are caught in the Russian roulette prescription matrix, right? And so this is my fight. My fight is to strengthen our community first. You know, I told my wife I'm going BFF. She said best friends forever. I said no, baby. I'm going black folks first.
Now, how much do you feel, you kind of alluded to it, but I just want to hear some of your views on this. Now, you mentioned working in the pharmaceutical industry. How much do you feel that the pharmaceutical industry is actually perpetrating the whole concept of letting folks get sick and not actually trying to find cures and things of that nature because it doesn't help their bottom dollar?
Well, yeah, the pharmaceuticals spent like $20 million one weekend. Glaxo Wellcome and all those people. They spent $20 million on a weekend for a party to sell doctors some new drugs. You know, so they're not taking care of the people like it's not even their job. But let me just talk about the doctors. The doctors aren't diabolical, but the doctors are caught up in a system where by the time they graduate from med school, science is 10 or 15 years out in front of them. And they're so busy trying to build a practice, they don't have time to study the science. So me, I'm a blues guitar player, folk blues, jazz, and so I got time, right, excuse me, to study the science. And I found a product. My main product has 1,800 PubMed peer reviews. It is in the physician's desk reference manual, and most doctors don't even know it's there. Right, and I'm the only African-American distributor in Wake County. I had a Hispanic, one of my Hispanic distributors invited me to her house. She said, you got to come to my house in Nightdale. I said, Nanette, it's rush hour traffic. I don't want to go. I don't want. I've been working. She said, you have to come to my house. I have people. I got the girlfriend's house, and 25 people who speak Spanish as a first language were waiting for me there. So it seems that I'm intending to get this into my community, but other cultures, and let me say this straight up: when 4 Chinese doctors start giving me their money, I feel like everybody ought to start paying attention.
Well, yeah. So why don't you tell folks a little bit about the product? Like I said, I mentioned, I think, on our intro in the page, but a lot of folks may not even know about the product that you're promoting. So tell folks a little bit about the product and how you got involved with the product directly, and what folks can, how folks can learn more, because you said it's in the physician's desk reference and things of that nature. So I'd be interested in learning more about the history of it.
I'm going to tell other people's business now. Well, no, I won't call any names. I'll be fair. I won't call any names. But there's a major motivational speaker, right? Homie had prostate cancer. Homie went from 225 pounds down to 125 pounds. And my mentor, Poncho, and I were calling him on the phone and said, man, you got to look at these products, man. And he was blowing us off because he'd already made $100 million speaking, right? And so everybody was sending him stuff, right? And so he was blowing us out because he was bombarded with so much stuff. And I'm saying, yeah, man, but Poncho, first of all, Poncho is 66 years of age. Poncho, I love Poncho's life. Poncho makes about $12,000 to $15,000 a month selling this stuff, right? And so let me break right there and say, I work with formerly incarcerated people, and if anybody on the phone who's listening to this, anybody on the line who's listening to this has a record and they're having difficulties raising themselves up above the poverty level, this is one of the things that I do. I am focused on helping incarcerated brothers and sisters, formerly incarcerated brothers and sisters. And let me say that one of the reasons that I wanted to do this was because when I was 21 years old, I embezzled $48,000 from Equitable Savings and Loan, and I went up to Canada and started watching the newspapers looking for my picture on the front page. I was 21. I was angry at America. So I said, I'm going to take mine right off the top, right? So I embezzled this money. I looked for my picture in the newspaper for almost a year. No blip, right, on me. Has anybody seen this man? So I come back down to the Seattle area, and I started selling real estate. So I got into a lot of trouble when I was young. I went out to Hammond Road to do my motivational workshop 5 or 6 years ago. The lady said, sir, you got to be careful. These guys are dangerous. And I was able to say, ma'am, I have presented workshops at San Quentin, so I'm going to be all right. I've presented workshops at Terminal Island. You don't want to be locked up at a place called Terminal Island, But so for 25 to 30 years, I've done that motivational, personal empowerment thing. And so I'm very dedicated to helping pull out brothers pay their debt to society, and then they're asked to pay the debt forever. And so when I get into these entrepreneurial things, I always look and see if I can contribute to the community. And I'm telling you, I found something. A lady called me on the phone and she woke me up. She says, the company you're in right now only has one person in the top 200 moneymakers in the world. And the company that you're using some of their products, but what you don't know is the inside pay plan. This other company has this product that you love, which is called Transfer Factor, by the way. And so I'm going to I'll give you the website later, but or you can find me anywhere you find me on LinkedIn. You can find some talk about Transfer Factor. But I want you to go to YouTube and look at what the doctors say about Transfer Factor. Don't just take my name for it. Now, Mr. Magic Johnson was the keynote speaker at our World Convention in 2016. And all I'm going to say is I've got information that I can't divulge. Let's put it like this. I have theories that I can't divulge because this is the first time Mr. Magic Johnson, I've ever seen him speak for a nutritional company. So I've got a feeling that they had a relationship long before 2016.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, Dean, who's the sixth man, as he calls himself, is actually involved in the prison system. He's worked on the administrative side of the prison industry for a while and things of that nature. So what message do you give to those folks that have been incarcerated? Because you've done motivational speaking, and like you said, some of your motivational speaking has been to those that have, for whatever reason, made a wrong turn in society or what society perceives to be a wrong turn. So what are some of the motivational messages that you give to folks that have been gotten caught up in the system?
Okay, check this out. When I walk into, the first thing I do is I walk in and tell them who I am. And I tell them that I bucked the system and that. And the second thing I do is I tell them this. I said, I was looking at 90 years, my second charge. 3 years later, I got busted with 6 counts of counterfeiting with a 15-year max on each count. And my posse was making money. And so the printer who was printing for me, he was what we call a square John, okay? He wasn't into crime. And me, I'm driving down the street in a brand-new Corvette with a shoebox full of marijuana on the floor and a 38 nickel plate Smith & Wesson laying in the seat next to me and $5,000 in my pocket. So this guy wasn't into that life, right? And so I talked him into printing because he was about to go bankrupt. And then when 22 people got busted and everybody testified that I was the leader, the Secret Service and FBI wanted me to tell who my printer was. And I had promised him that they could take wire pliers and rip my fingernails out one by one, and I would not tell on him. And so, because I had talked him into this mess, and I was not going to take this guy away from his family because I knew that I was the bad influence, right? And so I just bit the bullet, stared down the barrel of 90 years, and would not budge on not telling them who he was, right? The Secret Service got so upset with me and the FBI, they started coaching witnesses. The judge found out about it and threw 85 years out the window. So I see people always making excuses for breaking their integrity. There is no excuse for breaking your integrity as far as I'm concerned, right? And so I couldn't take this guy away from his family because I was the one that talked him into this. And I know just as soon as he saw my picture on the front page, 22 people busted. William D. Burton is the king ringleader. I know he was rehabilitated right there on the spot, right? So when I go into prison, I said, y'all need to quit doing crime because y'all will get busted with a joint and roll over on somebody with a kilo so you don't have to do a weekend. Y'all ain't tough enough to do crime, right? So I give them a hard time. And then I'll answer your question. I tell them, when you get out, you've got to learn how to contribute to your community in such a powerful way that they will embrace you again. And that's the secret. And I can teach people how to do that. I would teach people how to use EFT, emotional frequency techniques, start to break down. See, we have a gatekeeper in our subconscious mind that stops us from moving to the next level. Say you're used to $30,000 a year. This gatekeeper in you makes that your comfort zone. So when you get ready to, you say, I want $60,000 a year, it says, oh, no, because that's an unknown, and you should be fearful of the unknown. That's a voice in your subconscious mind telling you the status quo will keep you safe. And you know that this is true because even abused women will stay in a relationship just because they know the pain there. They're afraid. They're afraid of going somewhere where it might even be worse. So they'll stay in bad so that they don't get worse, So this is the way the primitive human brain works. The primitive human brain thinks that fear is a protector, and it's not. And so I teach people, go ahead and feel the fear and then walk past it, and then find something that you can passionately contribute to the community. And if you look at the health of the black community, I can't see anything more important. Well, first of all, our level of prosperity. These people coming out are sentenced to a life of poverty or crime or both. So I see a twofold kind of mission here, and that is to bring wellness back, high-level wellness into my community, and to bring a level of prosperity where people can have what they need. We can pull babies, mama, and baby up out of poverty. Right? The men can pay their child support and walk with dignity. The children can see these men walking in dignity, and then they can grow up thinking that they're somebody. You see, so we got some work to do, but we got the tools to do it.
Yeah, we definitely got some work to do. So one of the things I'm curious about is I know that one of the things that you've been a big proponent of is good nutrition and things of that nature. So when you go into a community, whether it's like Southeast Raleigh or parts of California or things of that nature, we're a fast food society, and definitely in the African American community, we're probably even more of a fast food society. So what kind of messages do you give to get people away from making that move toward fast food? Because, like I said, we're definitely a fast food society.
Oh man! I got a dissertation on that. First of all, these growth hormones that is put in. You see these big chickens they be selling. These chickens have muscles, man. You used to have a little scrawny chicken. Now you got a chicken that got biceps and stuff. So when our children eat these growth hormones, the little girl's body starts banging, right? And then the little boy's testosterone goes, berserk. And then we end up with teenage pregnancy and all of this stuff. And some of that is coming from the food that we're feeding these young people. And then you say, okay, so what is this doing? This is accelerating the aging process of our young people, And so then you look at the other end of the spectrum, these GMOs in this same food that's with the hormones and stuff in it. Oh, and don't let me get started on vaccines. Vaccines, do you know vaccines are laced with mercury because mercury is a preservative that keeps the drug fresh? And so most of these vaccines have mercury in them. You're not supposed to let people, intravenously put mercury into your body. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I felt like, well, to save people from this sort of thing, I have to teach them, how to boost their immune system and stuff. But then you look at the other end of the spectrum, and if it's making our young people grow up too fast, it's making our old people die too fast, and we're losing our wisdom. I tried my damnedest to get to B.B. King, man, and he had so many people around him, and he had so many people, just not to say anything bad about B.B. King's family, you did the best you could. You know, because the pharmaceutical organization, they're like the mafia, and they control the whole situation, and you can't get to people to heal them sometimes. You know, and it was just hurt my heart that I just couldn't